In this little corner over here we've got an absolutely stunning Bristol Tourer. That is absolutely amazing. Today on Car Traction, you join us at the magnificent Gawsworth Hall for, obviously, a car show, and what a car show it promises to be. We've got loads here. It's probably not even 8:30. We're going to be seeing loads and loads of classic cars, vintage cars, all sorts of lovely old automobiles. And then the Lagonda next to that, wonderful old pre-war saloon, 4-seater, huge 6-cylinder up front in there, I presume. Gorgeous old car, that, isn't it? Lovely spot lamp in the middle. Huge, gorgeous Lucas lamps. That is absolutely gleaming chrome all over the front of that. I really like that. Such a smooth engine in that'll be. Absolutely gorgeous. I think the Lagondas have to be some of the most graceful VSCC or pre-war cars. Beyond that we've got another classic VSCC car. This is a Vauxhall 3098 4-seat Tourer. So a big old 4-cylinder in this one. As this one will have a big old 6-cylinder. Look at that interior, wow. I really love that. Wow, there's a lot here. There's actually a lot of pre-war cars here, which are some of my favourites. Let's have a look at the back of the 3098. Lovely sort of slightly matte polished bare metal, really suits it. Lovely interior. Once again, got the central throttle. That's the same with a lot of old cars like this from the pre-war. The iconic flutes on the bonnet for the old Vauxhalls. Lovely chrome on the front, absolutely love that. Gorgeous old thing. Another pre-war Lagonda. Wow, what a start to this show. Gorgeous 4-seat Tourer again. Slightly smaller than the Vauxhall, interestingly, but this is probably another big old 6-cylinder. Lovely car. And now, this is something a bit more different. A standard Vanguard. Now this is either a phase 1 or 1A. I'm pretty sure it's quite an early one. But it's definitely before the sort of 2 and 3 because it's got the Beetle back shape. You can get a good view up here actually. Some lovely stuff here too already. Got a spats over the rear wheel, so it's quite an early one again. Column shift. Is it about a 1.2 engine? Something like that. Such a gorgeous car, and this one is in gleaming condition. Next now we've got an Alpha Spider. This is quite a late one, probably from the 80s if I had to guess the age of this one. Slightly larger bumpers than some of these later ones, but still a gorgeous old sports car. Be really nice to drive. Lovely car that. Triumph TR6s. I can't quite remember the differences. I guess this one's just a 3. Interesting colour. I haven't seen one of these in this colour before. Sliding windows, quite a primitive design in some of these earlier sports cars of the 50s, but still a lovely thing. The variant of the standard SC engine up front. A few Caterhams rolling past. Beyond that we've got a gorgeous Singer Tourer. Is it a Singer 9 perhaps? Probably pre-war or just post-war. Once again, huge spot lamp on the front. I love that. Lovely old car. There's maybe a bit of a pre-war section. We've got another Vauxhall 3098 here. This looks like it might have had a bit of trialling done in its history. They're really good trial car, really torquey 4-cylinder engine up front, thick tyres. The people in the back can bounce up and down nice and easily as the seats are really over the back. It's also got the extra little sort of block here. Now this is usually for hill climbs, and it just gives you a little tiny fraction more of time on a hill climb. Looks like it might have been hill climbed a few times. This car got a lovely leather strap over the bonnet. I do like that. Got a really early example of a 70s Porsche here. This might be a 912 or a 911. I'm not quite sure, but certainly an early one with the nice chrome wheels, steel wheels. Really great 70s colour in that. Green. Some of these would have been a 4-cylinder at the back, but this one might just be a 6. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't say 912 on the back. I just had a quick look, so not quite sure. It's D-Reg, so still quite early, probably just into the 70s. So if you know anything about that, please do let me know in the comments. Beyond that, we've got a wonderful old Austin 6, huge pre-war 4-seater. That is a lovely car, really smooth Austin 6-cylinder engine up front. Yeah, I do like that. Lovely large headlamps on the front as well. Like that, nice cast number plates, lovely that. Series 1 E-Type, the first of many we'll be seeing here. This is a roadster clearly. Series 1 being one of the most gorgeous old sports cars. Gleaming, do like that. Mark 1 Mini, is this a Mark 1? I'm pretty sure it is. Gleaming engine on show, that is gorgeous, isn't it? Some of the first ones of these were known as the Austin 7. Not the pre-war Austin 7, but the Austin 7. This says Austin Cooper on the one, and actually says one of the sort of faster models. Pretty little car, that's such a compact design. Fantastic design by Mr. Isigonis. I do like that. Really nice little car. Got the sliding windows and external door hinges, so it's certainly quite an early one. And now what is this? We've got a fantastic old Jaguar XK140, not a 120, but the slight variation to it. I believe it's about a 3.4 straight 6. Stunning engine under there. Let's have a quick look inside. That's one of the lesser known models of its type, the XK120. Is always a bit more famous than this one, but the XK140 is still an absolutely gorgeous car. And here's the evidence, that is absolutely beautiful. Really like that. There's what looks to be an Aston Martin DB5 Superleggera. I've seen this one a few times before. Interesting being in red. I think they do look better in some of these slightly more obscure colours for the old Astons than just the silver. Really pretty car, that. Stunning, isn't it? Really like that. Great example of quite a sort of low revving 6-cylinder British sports saloon. Well, not quite a saloon actually, it's probably it's 2-seater. I doubt you could fit some people in the back there, but still, yeah, lovely example. Here you've got an Alpine A110. If we look closely on the back, it says Faza Hispana on the back. Now, some of these were manufactured in Spain as well as in France, and this with that must mean it is a Spanish manufactured car. Fantastic little driver's car. I do really like these. Such a cute little design, and they're really nice to drive. Just look at that. I love these Alpines so much. Left-hand drive, very cool. That is just so nice. Always look great in the old French blue as well. That is absolutely beautiful. Got a lovely old Rover Tourer. This is a 12, so one of the slightly larger engined Tourers. I think this is a P3, but it could be a P2. Correct me on that if I am wrong. Big 6-cylinder up front, really smooth engine, quality car these. How lovely is that? Really smooth car to drive, that would be lovely. It's in wonderful condition. I like the domed glass of the headlamps on the front as well. That is just stunning, isn't it? So graceful. I do like that. Just post-war Tourer. Really stylish. Yeah, that is lovely. And this is probably one of the first of the 60s, 70s cars we've seen here today. This is a Gilburn GT, a slightly later model. I believe these might have been Volvo powered or something like that. Lovely wheels on these, I do really like them. It's also got a big bonnet scoop. That's a bit of an interesting modification. I'm sure that's not original. Lovely setting at Gawsworth Hall. That's to be one of my favourite places. I haven't been to this show before. You've got a little sticker on the back, High Performance 289. There's a V there, so perhaps the big scoop on the bonnet would indicate a 289 V8 in this. Wow, that must be quite an entertaining car to drive. I can see perhaps a new gear lever, which would suggest a new gearbox. So there's certainly been a few modifications underneath this one. That must be an interesting thing to drive in that engine. I love that. Looks like we've got some uprated brakes on the front as well. Really sharp looking saloon these. That'll be quite a hoop to drive. Pontiac Catalina. I've seen this one a few times at various shows. Really cool, sort of 60s, 70s muscle car. That is brilliant. This is a 68 car, this one. Love that. Capri, a 2 litre S. A very obscure Ferrari, I believe it's known as the Mondial. One of the lesser known models. There's quite a showing of Ferraris here today actually. But this is a bit more me. This is a Riley, perhaps 9, 10 or 12 pre-war Tourer. I'm pretty sure this will have a pre-selected gearbox. A lot of these Rileys did. No, it doesn't. That makes it quite a rare one. This is probably a 4-speed crash gearbox, no synchro mesh. But it's interesting being a manual as well. I haven't seen one like that. I like the green painted wires. Do like painted wires here. Lovely Riley fuel filler cap. This is a lovely car, this, especially being not a pre-selector, makes it quite a rare thing. Another big old Rolls Royce over here, pre-war Tourer. Interesting body on that. Never seen one like that with a huge bit of chrome going down the side, looking very lovely. Interesting how we got the gear lever and handbrake on the right side. Oh, there's even a dog in the back. Hello. Interesting body on that. Cool old thing that. Now, what is this beyond it? I'm not sure though. It's a BSA this. Now we usually see BSAs as motorbikes and sometimes they made cars like this. And I haven't seen a Tourer BSA for quite a long time, if ever. This is a BSA from 1939, 4-cylinder engine up front on show. This is a really sort of left field choice for pre-war motoring. It's a really interesting car that. I've got an MGA here as well. A Mark III Austin Healey Carman gear. That's cool. Got an MGYA or YB Tourer. I like that. Just post-war Tourer. Big old Austin perhaps. Lovely Jaguar C-Type. I really like that. Really lovely old car that. Fantastic old Le Mans. Oh, this is a Morris Cowley, apologies. The square front is quite similar to an Austin. There's the Carman gear. Got a Triumph Formosa 120. That's a strange looking thing. I like the painted wires on that. It's an interesting thing. I bet that's quite entertaining to drive. Got an Alfa Romeo 2000 with Alpholix treatment. I'm sure that's got all new cams, Alpholix exhaust, big tyres, big rims, D-bumper. That is a fantastic car. I really like those. Quite an early Austin Healey 3000, earlier than the one before. Lovely old Jaguar. This is a 120, I'd imagine. So the earlier predecessor to the 140 we saw earlier. Really pretty car. Yes, it is a 120. Leather straps and spot lamps included. I really like that. DB7 convertible. Lovely old Citroen DS. Riley Tourer, quite similar to the other red one we saw earlier. Gorgeous old thing. I'd imagine this one's pre-selected. Let's have a quick look. Oh wow, we're getting lucky today. We have 2 crash 4-speed non-synchro mesh Rileys. It's quite rare to see the what do you call it, pre-selected, that's it, cars on these old pre-war Rileys. But yeah, we've seen a fair share of actual manual gearboxes on these, which is interesting. Another lovely Series 1 E-Type Roadster, quite similar to the one we saw before, a Fiat 600, a slightly larger left field choice to the 500. It's an interesting car this. I've seen it a couple of times before. Oh, we've got a BMW 3-litre CSL. Love those. Here's the back of the Fiat 600, just a little bit longer with that beetle back. Ford Model A, seen that one lots of shows. Lovely old MG Tourer. I really, really like that. And there's quite a special looking midget over there. I've seen that one at Alton Park Racing Circuit. And this is a fantastically prepared car. Almost race spec. This is just beautiful. Revolution wheels. It's got a really tuned up engine. I had a chat with the owner a while ago. It was in Alton Park. I can't quite remember what event it would have been. This is a beautifully prepared car. I really like that. So cool. I think some of these midgets, when they're all lowered and sporty, are fantastic. Lovely XK150 Roadster, Daimler SP250, also known as the Dart. Huge V8 up there. Actually, no, not quite a small actually capacity. I think it's about a 2.5 litre V8. It's actually quite a small capacity V8. Now, what is this? This looks like an old standard to me. 1934 standard car instruction book. One of the pre-war standards. Don't see many examples of these. gorgeous old car, that. I really like that. This is interesting, a Riley Tourer. This is quite an early one. It's almost got a Morris Bullnose style front. Very different looking car. I don't see many like this actually. Here's the gorgeous BMW 3-litre CSL in a sort of tennis ball colour. Alpina bits everywhere on that. CSL being the lightest and quickest of all of the variants. Got a Model T, like the shell can on the side of that, nice patina. Now what is this? We've got some form of old special here, perhaps Ford based if I had to guess. I'm not quite sure what that actually is. If you know, please let me know in the comments. Got some nice steel wheels on that, I like that. I'm just not quite sure what it is, perhaps like an Ashley or something. I don't really know, apologies. But if you know, please let me know in the comments. Big old Triumph Tourer. Lovely old Jaguar. That's quite an early one with the spats and solid wheels. I love that. That'll be a 120, I'd imagine. There's all the Ferraris as well. Oh, we've got a lovely old... Is that a Cobra? Oh, that is nice. Or it might be even an AC Ace. I think it might be an AC Ace. I do like an AC Ace. Another Healy, and here's the gorgeous old Alpha. Beautifully prepared. Wow, there's so much here already. We've got a Sunbeam Talbot 90 Tourer over there, and just over there, wow, we got an AC Ace. One of my favourite old classic cars. Not a Cobra, but the British basis for it. Basically, the Yanks decided to put a huge V8 in it, but I'd choose the Ace over any day. I think it's a Bristol or perhaps Ford. Straight six up front, really smooth engine. That'll be a lovely car to drive. Nice and simple. 4 on the floor gearbox. Looks beautiful in silver. Really love that. Huge tyres and knock-on wires. That is absolutely gorgeous. Favourite car here, definitely. I really like the old Aces. That is a beauty. Got an old 911 beyond that, an Espada, a Ferrari, and a Bagel. Now, what is this? This is a beautiful old 4-seat saloon. This is an Invicta. I'm not quite sure the exact model of this, but what a beauty this is. I presume a big straight 6 under there, maybe. Let's have a quick look around the other side, perhaps. What a graceful body that is. I presume that's probably 40s. Yeah, it says 1946 saloon 6 light, so it'll be a 6-cylinder. That is so nice, isn't it? What a great shape. Really quality car. Once again, a bit of a left field choice. Not many people know about these. Spats and white walls, great combination. I really like that. In this little corner over here, we've got an absolutely stunning Bristol Tourer. That is absolutely amazing. Almost like, looks a bit like some of the sort of just post-war BMWs. Absolutely huge Tourer, 2-litre straight 6 in this one. That is so nice. Got their semaphores, quite an unusual place with semaphores actually, but with a Tourer you can't have them up there. That is a wonderful car. I really like that. Got a slightly newer one next to that. Wow, look at the door handles on it as well. Wow, I really like that. That is such a beauty. That's one of the highlights for me. We've got a 70s Bristol. I can't quite remember the exact model name of this one, unfortunately. I apologise for that, but if you do know it, let me know in the comments. It's got an automatic gearbox, I presume about 3-speed. Nice usable condition. And over here is another regular. We got the regular gorgeous Jensen CV8, huge American V8 up front. Probably does about 6 to the gallon, but who cares when you're driving something that is that pretty. And I think quite a few people don't like these, but I really love them. Such a graceful car. Really, really lovely old car. Such an elegant car, these, I think. So nice. Really love them. Once again, a bit more of a sort of obscure and left field choice in sort of classic GTs. It's the lovely location here. And then we got a few more Interceptors. Interesting how there's only one CV8 and quite a collection of Interceptors. Got an Interceptor 3 and SP here. It's quite rare. Jensen FF. So this is the Ferguson 4, I think these are called, four-wheel drive, made by Ferguson. I think that's right. It's got the two sort of like little vents, which I'm pretty sure it means it's the four-wheel drive model. It's a rare car, that. And another SP on the end. Quite cool, these, I think. I think the FF had a slightly sort of squarer front. You can just compare it to the SP. There you are. Just a little bit different, but a really interesting car. Both of these are. Bit of a Lotus section here. We've got the Mark 1 Lotus Cortina, looking as immaculate as ever. Got a Talbot Lotus Sunbeam. I can never quite remember the exact order of those words. It's a cool old car. Lotus Elan. These are just fantastic little cars, I think. Tiny steering wheel on that one as well, actually. I really like those. There's also got a Lotus Europa here in the gold leaf Formula 1 livery. I see quite a few of these old Lotuses in the livery, probably the late 60s Formula 1 livery, the gold leaf. I've seen that on a few shows. I think I've seen it at Combermere. Made a few videos there. Got it in a Land Sprint, quite an unusual colour, being blue and white, two-tone. Another Europa. This is a twin cam. Oh, Lotus made some beautiful twin cam engines, just like Alfa Romeo. Really lovely sporty cars, especially being mid-engined or rear-engined. I don't know what it exactly counts as. Would be a very nice driving car. Light steering as well, actually. There's another Caterham stand. There's quite a showing of those here today. Lotus Elan 2+2. It's interesting being a convertible one. Big old Lotus Esprit. A gorgeous early Elan. That's quite an early one, that. I do like some of these slightly earlier ones. I love the knock-on Steelies that really only come with some of these Elans. That is such a pretty car. Another Elan there, slightly later. Got a bit of a modern section. This might be like an Exige S or something like that. I'm not too good on these moderns. Bit of a Morgan collection over here, just over the brow of the hill. Wow, there's a good showing of those here today, aren't there? Plenty Morgan Tourers here. Let's have a quick look here. We've got a bit of a racy looking Morgan up there, and a Triumph GT6. I absolutely love these. How nice does that look there? Such a pretty car, these. This is a Mark III to the chopped off tail, Rotaflex rear end most likely. It's even for sale, this car. Really lovely car on mini lights as well. Don't see many of these on mini lights, actually. Manual 4-speed overdrive. I believe all these would have been 4-speed overdrive for the Mark III. Gorgeous car. Can sound very nice. That 2-litre straight six up front. Really solid engine. And here's the Morgan. This is a bit of an interesting car. I like the painted wires. This could well be an original racing car. Certainly looks the part. Usually when you're looking at these replicas, you sort of have to look at suspension and things like that. But this one could actually be, maybe, a proper old Morgan, instead of just the slightly old, but built in the old style Morgans such as those over there. I think that GT6 looks fantastic in that colour. Beyond the Beetle. A few more Morgans over here. This is a +8, so we'll have a V8 in there. We saw +4s earlier. This might be a bit of a +8 section. All these, I believe, have V8 engines in them. I like the steel wheels on that one. It's just a 4.4. Now this is a bit interesting. This is a Citroën Cadian van based on a 2CV. Really like that. Lovely Michelin sign on the side. This is a 1977 example of an Cadian. We've had a couple of these in our time. I do really like them. One thing I remember is the very bouncy rear suspension. You could sit on it and it would sag a few inches. I really like that. That's a lovely little van, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. Nice old Ferguson tractor. And more of a late series E-Type. We've seen quite a few early ones here today. Some really quintessential classic sports cars here. Got a 3000 Healy big straight six Mark II MGA, the slightly different grille, 1600 engine in there. Very early MGB Roadster. This is a Mark I. The very first ones of these would have had the pull handle doors. As you can see, the later ones would have had a push in sort of button arrangement. It's also got the earlier interior. Really lovely colour for these. This is probably about 62 or 63 if I had to guess, but a very early car. You don't see quite as many of the Mark 1s as all the other ones. Here's a slightly later MGB. This is a GT from 1969. Nice painted wires. I do like painted wires on these. This has got the early interior once again with the nice early steering wheel. Great example of a cheap, affordable classic car, classic sports car. 1.8 4-cylinder up front. I did a good video of these actually, of a sort of review, so if you haven't seen that, have a look at that. We've got a later Roadster here on big mini lights. It's another B. A slightly later back, you can see these later ones have reversing lights, as that one over there does not have reversing lights, so that's another way you can tell an early one from a slightly later one. You see the push door handle on the other ones, they would have just pulled out, as these have got the little push button. A nice example there, we've got a MGTF and another MG Roadster on the end. This is quite a late one. I believe this one might have had a chrome bumper conversion, being a V-Reg. But still a lovely old car. Got an MGB GT, this is the rubber bumpers of the later ones after 75 perhaps, I'm not sure. Nice to see big knock-on wires on that, I do like that. Another pair of MGBs, you'd almost think this is an MGB section. Got a lovely old Roadster here. It's probably late 60s, isn't it? An old GT. GT was introduced in 65 or 66. I think it was one of those 2 years. Great colour, isn't it? Quite a small steering wheel in this one, that's not original. And now this is lovely, this is an MG Magnet. Really like these, this MG's take on the Wolseley. Is it 6 something? I'm not quite sure. Really practical old car these, 4-seater saloon with a little bit of a sporting edge. It's almost got a more Wolseley-esque livery. You don't see many of the MGs in the two-tone, but you see more of the Wolseleys in the two-tone like this. And that's a lovely car. I really like the shape of those, and a couple more of slightly more modern TFs and RV8s and a Triumph TR6 on the end. Got a bit of a Corvette section here, all the different generations. He says that, and there's a Capri just there. Let's have a quick look. This is a 2002 car, ZL something I think it is known as. Now here's the latest example here today. Stingray, slightly later Stingray. It's the same shape next to it. That says official pace car for the Indianapolis 500. That's an interesting history to that car, if that's true, which I presume it is. Cool thing, these. But one of my favourites has to be the earlier style of the Stingray. There's a fair showing of them here today, but these are just such a graceful car. I think most of them were automatic, but some were manual. I think these are just the most gorgeous old, really curvy, really pretty old muscle car. We got a convertible one beyond that. Just absolutely lovely. Quite an early one beyond that one as well. This is possibly the earliest of all the ones here. 63 car. I love these sort of slight, I don't know what to call them actually, they're sort of knock-on spinner rim sort of things. This is it a manual perhaps? I'm not sure. But still, absolutely gorgeous car. I love the back of these, how pretty is that? I really like that. We can see the steering wheel through the back window from that angle. Here's the slightly later shaped Stingray again. Later again. Haven't seen one of these yet. Most of these would have been auto, I'd imagine. Most people in the 80s wanted automatics, so that's why. It's quite a new one. It's a nice old one on the end. And sort of, perhaps, is that 90s, is it? Maybe just, yeah, N-Reg. 90s, is this a, I can't, is it a Corvette, is it? I'm pretty sure it's a Corvette, it makes sense being here. Let's have a look around the back. Ah, yes. This is a Camaro. I thought it was something different. Interesting shape, that's for sure. Another automatic gearbox. There's a nice old Range Rover there. Looks like we got another Interceptor imminent for the Jensen section. Cool cars those, I do like them. That's another SP. Quite a few of those here today. These were all automatics, so quite easy to drive. Must be good visibility out of that huge rear window. Another lovely old Bristol rolling past, I really like that. Gorgeous shape, isn't it? Up top we've got a bit of a Porsche section here. I think we'll start off with a lovely old 356 Tourer. These are gorgeous cars, aren't they? I presume this is a proper old one. Looks all genuine to me. Really lovely cars these, aren't they? It's a 911, that's quite an old one, perhaps early 70s. Bit of a wide body. There's another 70s Carrera. Cool shape those, aren't they? Another 911, a 911 turbo era. That might well be a turbo. Another 911. And a 914, one of the more unorthodox choices. I don't think many people know about these actually. They're meant to drive pretty well. Got a little fizzy 4-cylinder engine just under there. Nice and simple to drive. Probably nice light steering beam, mid-engine or rear engine. Another nice old 911 and another Interceptor. What a great colour for a 914 though. Now if you think it's a good turnout here from what we've just seen, then look at this field. There's all sorts of lovely cars here. We're starting off with the Rolls-Royce and Bentley section here. Oh, that's a nice engine. It's probably a 6-cylinder of some description, I'd imagine. Silver Shadow here, Rolls-Royce. Big old Bentley, I do like that one. It's a little bit more original than some of the other ones. We've got one in maroon here. Very shiny, all of these. Nice to see an original one if we can. I guess this is where all the little car clubs are. So we got the Cheshire Classic Car Club here. We're starting off with a gorgeous little Austin A35, all of the period accessories on that. Triumph Stag, Triumph 2000 next as well. Is it a 2.5 actually? I can't see the poppies covering up where it would say this would be an either 2 litre straight 6 or a 2.5 litre straight 6. Gorgeous old Mustang, that's a 289 fastback. Great old Pontiac. Lovely old Triumph TR4. I like the Lucas lamps on that. Oh, I like that. Look at that. Immaculate comma pickup. Never seen one like that. Sort of cab over type thing. Sitting right on top of the engine there. That's a gorgeous little truck. Beyond that we got a bit of Farina. The first bit of Farina here. Austin, Cambridge. And a Sunbeam Rapier, is that? Actually, my mind's gone a bit blank there. Got a Riley RM coming down. I love those things. A lovely Series 2 XJ. This is a Daimler car. This one, so I'd imagine it's a 4.2. It's an XJC pillarless coupe. It's a 4-speed manual actually overdrive car, which is quite rare on the Daimlers especially. There's the big old straight 6. Really nice engine in these. It's a lovely car that. Mini 924 Porsche Mark II Cortina, that looks like an older restoration. Sunbeam Alpine, that's a Mark IV one. Austin Allegro. A couple of lovely little Moggy Minor Travellers, they look very clean. Oh, I like this. This is a Humber Super Snipe. Really nice 60s long distance 4-seater saloon. Really like that column shift, as a lot of these sort of 50s 60s saloons are. That's such a lovely car. That'll do a good sort of 65 mile per hour on the motorway, long distance classic car. Really lovely car that. Beyond that we got a P6 Rover. This is the slightly later one. There's a 2.2 4-cylinder in this one, so pretty mid-range spec. Lovely car, nice to see the original registration on it as well. It's a nice example of that. What have we got around here? We've got a Ferrari of some description. MGB Roadster. Seen a fair share of those here today. And just round here, oh, I like that. We got a lovely old Triumph GT6. This looks like quite an early one. It's got the 2 litre straight 6 on show, really shiny under there. Looks beautiful that. Really nice that. The Mark II, having the slightly different suspension at the rear to stop the wheels from tucking under. Such a lovely car this. Really like that, and it's in gleaming condition. Mark II is probably my favourite out of all the GT6s. I think it's the best looking, and it doesn't have the slightly scary suspension at the back that stops the wheels from tucking under like some of the early Spitfires had that, but the Mark II sorted all that out, and that's a lovely example of that. Quite an interesting looking Lotus, maybe a bit lowered, a bit modified. Lovely Riley RM, I really like this. This is a 4-cylinder one. So nice, these old Rileys. This looks like an old restoration, or perhaps even original. Certainly been like that for a while. Like that, perhaps. Are those some later lights? Maybe Beetle, are they? I don't know, they look sort of late Beetle. Not sure about that. And a gorgeous Series 1 E-Type. This is a 4.2, so a slightly later version of the Series 1, but still a very early car. Very nice. It really is so much to see here. We've got a really nice pre-war MG Tourer, 4-seat Tourer. Old Range Rover classic, couple of, well, that's actually a Defender and a Series 3. MGB GT. That's the honeycomb grille on that one. Another lovely Moggy Mine 1000, really practical classic these. Great parts everywhere, just a really nice car to own. MGC, the 3-litre straight 6 in the MGB guys. Got a bit of a crazy looking Ford Anglia E04A. Got a V8 in there for a 1948 car. Would have been interesting to see what that looked like, all original condition, but been hot rodded. Lovely TR5. Vauxhall Viva HC, what a great colour, really clean under there. Fiat 124 Spider, interesting being in that colour. Mercedes SL, one I like this, a lovely old Singer Gazelle. Do like my Roots Group cars. This is quite an original one. Lovely condition, just great usable condition this one. I do like that. And beyond that is a lovely old Austin A35 van. We've had a few of these in our history, and I must say this one is a gorgeous example. I do really like these. Such a lovely old van. I do like the light commercials, some of the sort of slightly lighter commercials like that. Just beautiful old car. I like that. MG Midget. Another SL class. Triumph TR4A, I think that one is. VW fire engine vehicle, and then we got a Triumph TR6. That looks lovely in that hardtop. I haven't seen one in this colour for a while actually, but it does look very nice. I think the hardtops really suit the TR6. It's lovely that. 4-speed overdrive, really nice spec. That's a really nice example there. Sunbeam Alpine beyond that. Gorgeous old Mercedes. These are fantastic cars. The stacked headlights just so stylish. Sorry for my voice crack. TR6 full Capri, and a pairing of Austin A35 pickups. These are so nice, aren't they? Both with the 803cc engine on show. Some lovely pickups these. Really clean underneath. Same size engine as our little standard 8. Really rare these. 487 made of these old pickups, and there's going to be nowhere near that today. Old Ford Hot Rod 100E Prefect, quite a late MGB, and a lovely midget on the end. I think these look really nice, a bit modified. Got a very early Mini here, as I said earlier, with that car over there. Austin 7, some of these earlier ones were badged as. Lovely old example of this, really early. Gorgeous. Really like that. Got a little Austin van. And a Mark III, maybe, is that Mini? A modern Fiesta. A fantastic old Forenza. Love those. Bit of a modern Range Rover, and a nice old MGB GT in sort of tennis ball colour again. Another 924. Ford Capri, that looks nice in that colour. Actually, I haven't seen one like that for a while. That's a 1600 engine in that one. Another old Austin Mini. And this is an interesting thing. Another Ado 16 car. Old Riley Kestrel Mark II. Bit of Austin and Morris 1100 and 1300 there. BMC. Interesting variant. Dolomite. Midget. Great old Saab 96. I love these. So Moggy Miner. More modern Aston, got a 1360 Herald, like the steel wheels on that. Bit of a crazy looking Mini, that looks a bit more Mini than any other Mini I've seen. Yeah, these ones have got 4 seats, that one only got 2 seats just squeezed into it. Another quite an early one, this is a Morris. I don't see quite as many Morrises, perhaps the slightly rarer variant. Another Capri, a lovely old console, I do like that. An Austin 16, saw this one a while ago and had a lengthy chat with the owner. Really nice car. And this is just fantastic, a gorgeous old Alfa Romeo 2000. I love the sort of modifications that you get on these to make them into sort of hill climb sports car, absolutely stunning. Really like that. A very original looking split window camper and a gleaming Toyota Land Cruiser. Now this Triumph TR4 has to be one of my favourites. This is a lovely car. Got the D-bumper treatment, steel wheels, all sorts of modifications. Quite an early example as well. I really like that. That would be a lovely car to drive. I like that. Got this earlier style of interior as well. That's a really nice car, that. I think that's been very nicely modified. Another 100E pop and Marcos. Don't see quite as many of these now. Certainly a very interesting old sports car. Got a Daimler 250 V8 based on the Mark II but with the Daimler engine. 2.5 litre V8. Sunbeam Alpine, another TR4 over there. Very early MGB GT. Not quite the earliest, but still quite early. Got the steel wheels on it. Oh, perhaps it's actually not as early as I thought, and it's just got the earlier steel wheels on it because it's got the later steering wheel in it. Still a very nice example. Another E-Type. MG midgets. Oh, sorry, apologies, it's an Austin Healey Sprite, this one, the variant just before they went to the rubber bumpers, I believe these are. This is a square arch model, some of them would have been a round arch. Really nice condition, that. A Saab 99L, I've seen this one quite a few times and I really love it. Fantastic colour. That's such a great looking car, I think. That is really nice. XK 150 hardtop, very clean. XK 140, that is a lovely example there. I think this is either a Jaguar Mark 9, I'm pretty sure it's a Jaguar Mark 9, yes. Really nice car, about a 3.4 or 3.8, I can't quite remember. Straight 6 up front, lovely example. I believe this one's an automatic, but there would have been some manual overdrive variants. Another Series 2 Jaguar XJ, that's a 4.2, quite a nice example. Mark 1 Cortina, Capri, MGA, that's another 1600 car. It'd be a treat to see a twin cam one. Got another MGB, another MGA, that's a nice one. Rover 100, a 6-cylinder engine P4, like that. And a gorgeous Series 1 E-Type. I've seen this one before. Don't get fooled by the hardtop, it's not a fixed head coupe, but this is a sort of roadster with a hardtop on it. And that is absolutely beautiful. MGTD, Carman gear. A bit more Farina goodness in form of this Austin Cambridge and Austin Princess. Wow, that's a real time warp. Another Princess. A bit of BL. Haven't seen many BL cars here today. We've got a Ford Anglia Super, one of the top of the range cars, an MGB GT V8. I think I've seen this car before. Great conversion they did with these. They're over V8, 3.5 litre. It's a nice car, that. It's another E-Type. Well, the sky isn't looking quite as favourable all of a sudden, so I'll have to dash around a bit. Got a very early Austin Healey 3000. This is quite an early car. Got the early interior, lovely painted wires. That's really nice. Got some nice looking exhaust on that. Lovely sounding 3 litre straight 6 engine. That's a beautiful example there. Really like that. Another MGB. Always get loads of those at car shows like this. MGTD, and beyond that a Triumph Vitesse. To put it simply, a Herald with the 2 litre straight 6 that went into the Triumph 2000 and the GT6. Very nice engine, getting a few spots of rain. Very nicely bodied old Austin, perhaps a 12 if I had to guess. I'm not great with these, apologies. That is in wonderful condition. Just look at the shape of the body around that. I really like that. Triumph TR4A, another Healy. Lots of those. I like the side pipes there. That'll make a very nice burble. Another Austin Mini, Triumph TR6 in the fantastic purple. You see a lot of 70s Triumphs in that colour. Another Mini. And a midget with some interesting gold rims. Well, the spits and spots of rain won't deter me. Got a lovely old MGB, that's quite an early one. Austin 3000, early split window. Younger brother, a later split window, the bay window actually. TVR, another 1360 Herald, quite a sharp looking car that is, I think. I can see myself in one of those. A Stag, a Mark IV Spitfire. I don't see quite as many Mark IVs, similar to the 1500 but a slightly smaller engine. I believe these had a 1300 or something like that. Nice cheap old sports car. And this is nice, Triumph TR4. It's the Sunbeam we saw earlier. Nice old Daimler, a Beetle and a Rolls Royce on the end. Let's have a quick look over here. We've got all sorts of old TVRs and all sorts over there. A couple of midgets. Looks like a bit of a midget and sprite club this is. Got the Mark 1 Frog Eyes. Gorgeous little cars. Oh, it's another little shield. Austin Healy Sprite. Once again, slightly modified. That's a clean one, isn't it? Same with this one. Very nicely modified. We've got the Stag Owners Club here, so Stag, 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 Stag. Plenty of them here. Fantastic V8 engine convertibles. It's a good recipe, isn't it? Sporty body V8. It's always going to make a good car, wasn't it? And there's a great turnout. There's even a second row behind of Stags. I do like the colours these Stags are in, actually. All the sort of different colours look brilliant all together. Got a TR register club here now. TR6 in yellow, I like that. TR4A, I believe that one is. I've seen that one before. That's a really nicely prepared car. TR6, I like the big steel wheels you get on these. We've got Wolf Race wheels on this TR6. I think they look good on those as well. Another yellow TR6. Another Triumph TR4A. That's a lovely car with the nice little spot lamps at the front. Another Triumph TR4. Triumph TR3. A couple of more TR6s, almost identical. And a couple more TR6s at the back. Certainly a lot here. TR7. There's a TR3. And now this looks like a bit of an interesting car. Usually I'd just say this looks like any other Mark V Spitfire, but this sticker suggests otherwise, and this could actually be a very, very interesting car. I just want to make sure, so let's have a quick look inside. This is an interesting car. I think, as it says, 2500S, this might have the 2.5 straight 6 engine in it, which makes it as a very, very interesting car. It's got a big lump in the bonnet, perhaps slightly larger than other Spitfires. But yeah, that's an interesting conversion if it is, because that would be a seriously quick car with that engine in it. Yeah, it's an interesting car, especially if it does have that big engine. The 2.5 is the biggest of them all, and that would be a hoot to drive if it really was what I think it is. A few more lovely classics over here. X300 Jag, Wolseley 1500, two of them actually. I love those so much. I can really see myself in one of those not too long from now. Another Wolseley 1500, got a P6 Rover. This is a 3500, not the S, so there's an automatic box in this one. That's a Wolseley 1660 Farina design once again. Oh, and another lovely old Wolseley, pre-war Wolseley police car. That's nice. These usually have a sort of, it's quite a small, maybe 1.6 or certainly under 2 litre straight 6 engine. This one says 14 horsepower on it. So yeah, actually quite a considerably fast car for its day, especially being a police car. There we go. Another lovely old Wolseley, that's the Edo 16 again. Another nice old Wolseley, big 6-cylinder, 4-seat Tourer, lovely domed amps. This is a 12 horsepower car, not 12 brake horsepower. It's a way of measuring tax in the 20s and 30s before the war. I do like those old Wolseleys. The big old Wolseley 6. It's a rare thing, that. I love these. These are brilliant. And this is an interesting car. Don't see many of those at all. Now this is a little section I missed. This is the historic rally car section, and it's certainly worth having a little look round here. So we're starting off with this lovely old Moggy Minor Traveller. The wood's all beautifully waxed on this one. Once again, really practical old classic car. Great old thing. And then, oh, this is cool. This is an old 60s, 70s Ginetta. That will drive beautifully, I'm sure. These are really nice drivers' cars. This looks a bit hill climb, tuned up. I think I saw one of these a while ago at Lowton Park. It certainly does look and stand apart. Really, really, they must handle well. And now this, to me, is the perfect Riley 1.5. Just look at this, huge tyres, huge mini lights. So at that event, the Tour of Cheshire, although it was last year's event, that is just brilliant, isn't it? Really hilarious, actually, this one. Riley 1.5, obviously. Twin carbs, really like that. It's the one we saw at the Tour of Cheshire, isn't it?
Suit you, sir.
It would do, wouldn't it? And they got a Mini, an Escort, and a TR4.